Can't hear you.
There we are. There we are. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is your new American perspective. I'm your host, Jania Butler. I got my co-host in the building, Dr. AB Butler in the building with the G check today. What's up, sir? How are
What's,
you, cousin family?
what's up, cuz? The first thing I'm a G check, the dudes behind the boards. Get this thing together. That's the first G check in the morning.
You about to get fired. Let's go. So now we
Please
have a
fire me.
great show for you today. We missed us. I missed you guys last week, and I'm sure that you missed us last week. We weren't on last week, so we've got so much to talk about, so much to catch up to. What have you been doing around the world? Put it in the comments. Let us know what has been happening in your neck of the woods, because in our neck of the woods, okay, we've got a lot going on. Okay, so let's start off right now with the coup that's happening in Texas. So right now, the Texas government is having a standoff. Okay, so everybody in Texas, President Trump has ordered all the Republicans in Texas to redraw the lines, to redistrict the lines, gerrymander the lines in Texas to get 5 more Republican seats. Now, what that would mean is that the Republicans would still hold the Congress and the Senate during President Trump's term. So Trump said, well, listen, redraw everything, okay, and pull up 5 more seats, but not our girl Jazzy Jazz. Jazzy Jazz has rounded everybody up and took them to Chicago. Okay, Jazz has took everybody to Chicago and says, we're not going to go sit in our seats and we're not going to vote because these people are gerrymandering and we're not going for it and we're not standing for it. So they left the state. Okay, so now all the Texas people are in Chicago in a standoff. So now the Speaker of the House in Texas said, arrest them people. He said, go arrest them. But now we know the law. So the law says you can't arrest us. So now they're in Chicago. So now when they step back into Texas, though, I think they might get arrested. So now let me break this down for you, cousin, so you could G-check this very good, okay? So every state has district lines. So you know how when they say, okay, your representative is Dr. Butler, right? And he covers this much land. So every once in a while, they switch up everything so people that are voting in a certain district can vote for a certain area in the district. So now that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to change the lines to make it make sense to where there's more Republican seats or there's more Democrat seats, and both of them do it. I don't want to just say that the Republicans do it because the Governor Hochul, you probably seen Governor Hochul talking about, I'm about to redistrict and I'm about to do that in New York. So now it's becoming to be a big problem and a big standoff. But this is the biggest that it's ever been, where the Texas delegation has gone to Chicago. Talk about it, cousin. G-check the situation from your understanding.
Well, my understanding is, once again, this is the new American, and it's just greed. It's not too much you could say about what you just said. It's all about greed and power. And really, it don't matter. They cross 2 or 3 borders. At the end of the day, the power's in the people. We just got to wake up, and listen to the game they playing. They playing tennis with us.
Yeah.
You got Venus, Serenas. They playing back and forth. You man, shout out to the sisters. But at the end of the day, I use them as examples because they was champions. But at the end of the day, it's all about power, money, and greed.
That
It was, back in the days with the locks and all them, and Lil Kim was about money, power, and respect. Right
Mm,
now, it's about
colors. Say what
money.
he like.
Exactly.
This is
That's
what
a
it be
G
like.
check.
That's a G check because again, so what's happening is, and I'm not even mad. So Jasmine Crockett, right? So the little young girl that's out now,
Hmm.
Jasmine Crockett, she's out flexing her stuff. So she done got everybody up. And I'm worried about her because they're gonna come running for her because I've never seen this happen, particularly in the United States, where the delegation has got up and left the state and said, well, we can't come to work because we're not there. But what Jasmine said, what I didn't like is what Jasmine said. And Jasmine said, listen, once the Democrats get it back, because now what? See, now this, just like you said, this is a complete tennis match because once the Democrats, so it's about to be midterm election next year. So next November is the midterm election. So everybody can vote for their Congress people. And so what the Democrats are hoping that will happen, they're hoping that the people vote the Democrats back in. Now, I'm a stark Republican, love my Republican people, even though that we got work to do, President Trump. Okay. But what Jasmine said that I didn't like, she says, well, when we get it back, we're going to be just as hard as they are. Now, I understand where she's coming from, but do we need two sides? Somebody's got to be for the people, right? Do we need two sides fighting against each other, getting nothing done? Because she said, once we get the power back, we're going to throw it back to them. It's just like they threw it to us. Oh, boy, here we go. Now, again, I can't say, well, the Republicans don't stand down and the Democrats do. So therein lies our issue of why we don't get much done at the end of the day. And so we really need to focus on the American people. And I don't know who has to stop fighting. One side has to stop fighting, one or the other has to stop fighting, but it's not happening right now. So that's what's happening right now in Congress. But then let's go over to the fact that the Epstein files. Now, this is a big thing too. Okay, so here we go with the Epstein files. Now, the Republicans have they actually were talking about during the election, oh, we're going to release the Epstein files and we're going to find out who's in the Epstein files and everything like that. Now it's time to release the Epstein files. And guess what, cousin?
Hmm.
They don't want to release the Epstein files, right? So now, because they're saying President Trump's name is all in and throughout the Epstein files, okay? And that Epstein was a friend of President Trump. President Trump said he used to come to Mar-a-Lago all the time. He said he didn't have the privilege of going to the island and everything, but they found out that President Trump sent 4,000 transactions to at least 4,000, maybe 700 transactions to Epstein's, totaling $1.1 billion. So now what the DOJ is doing, they have subpoenaed the Clintons, they subpoenaed Eric Holder, they subpoenaed the Attorney General Barr, Comey, a whole bunch of people. I think it was about 10 people that they subpoenaed about these Epstein files and what they're doing with them. So we're going to know something. Now, the question is, if President Trump has paid Epstein 4,000 times, totaling $1.1 billion, cousin, should he be brought to the table too?
Oh yeah, this is a G check. Everybody should be brought to the table, not just them. Everybody. Since y'all want to bring it up, and this is a G check. They could bring up every charge from 30 years for Bill Cosby, R.
Still,
Kelly, but they
still
could
won't.
never bring the charges. They could never bring the people that hung our families.
Mm,
We can't, and they still in Congress, deputies. All these people still running things. If you want to, if y'all want to play Let's play peekaboo. This is what they doing. They playing peekaboo. You know, they'll bring this and they hide that. They'll
Ooh.
bring this and hide that. You get where I'm coming from? So why why are we so focused on all of this and not focus on the black community starving?
There you go.
You get where
There.
I'm coming from? Why we focus on the Diddy case? You know what I mean? Where you got people need help. Y'all want to take. So this is the craziest G check. Yo, forget all that. Just shut down the beautiful bill and correct the problem of the black community for lifetimes.
But now
It
wait,
ain't.
cousin, you can't just say black community or else because there
No, no,
are
no,
a
no.
lot
When
of communities
you
out here
see,
suffering.
you didn't let me finish. I wasn't finished.
Okay, finish.
You know what I mean? But when I say the black community and the brown community and the other people in the community, you know what I mean? It ain't just us suffering, everybody's suffering. It's, we got to get off the white, the black, this and that. We got to say the community is suffering. That's the everybody, the white, the black, the Chinese, the Asians, the Jews. Because once again, when Trump taking so much, we not the only one, as they say, they make it like we on welfare hard. But go to Brooklyn to these Jewish communities and you will see what's going on. It ain't just us.
No, it's not just us.
Yeah,
And we do,
that's
and
a
I think
G check.
your point, that's a G check because I think to your point, what you're saying is that stop focusing on what y'all talking about and focus on the people and focus on what the people really need here in America. And let's do that. Like,
Yeah,
let's jump off of everything else and focus on what the real meaning of the American government is. And that is the people. And so now look, the people in New York, okay, so we've got Charles is backstage, so we want to bring him up when possible. But when we think about in New York, or we can bring him up at the break, but it doesn't matter. But bring them up, please. so uh so what we got to think about in New York is we've got to think about who the next mayor is going to be. And this would be good for Charles too, because we want to know what the people say. Now, the people in New York have shown that the establishment doesn't necessarily work when you're paying attention, right? Because Mom Dami, who everybody is going crazy about, they're losing their mind about this particular 33-year-old Muslim man that beat Cuomo, which is the establishment in New York. He beat Cuomo in a Democratic primary for the mayoral race, which takes place in November. Okay, so the people have spoken. So now the everybody in New York is up in arms because they're like, oh no, we cannot let this man get in office no matter what.
but who's the people? Who's
The
the
people who
people?
vote. The people
Okay,
who vote.
okay, okay.
That's a good question too. The people who vote. So if you don't vote, you don't really count.
Exactly. That's a G check.
That's a G check because the people, only about 1 million people voted in the primary. And those million people are going to choose who the next mayor is. Now they're trying to get, there's about 8 million people in New York, right? And
Hmm.
so out of those 8 million people, they want more people to get out and vote this man out. Now there are, like, I believe with, let's go with the people. But this guy has deceptive practices. But before we go into this, we're going to go to a break and we'll come back with Charles and we'll talk about how we're feeling in New York City with what's happening and what's going on. And did you check out your girls all natural? That's not a ponytail. But we will be right back on the New American Perspective here with your G-Check, Jania Butler and AV Butler in the house. Talk to you in a minute.
Did you check my new?
And we are back with your New American Perspective and your G-Check. Can you bring up our guest, Charles Jones?
Oh,
And so
no.
he can join the conversation. We missed him on the last go round.
Charles Jones, Charles Jones, Charles Jones, Charles Jones.
So if we could bring him up, that would be wonderful. But let's talk about it, cousin. So again, you're seeing what's happening. You're seeing everybody trying to go against this young man, 33-year-old Muslim gentleman from Uganda, right? So now they're saying that, listen, he went to Columbia. He tried to apply for Columbia University, and he put down he was African American. Merits. I can't hear you.
Wait for the call. Shut it down. Shut it down.
I don't know what's happening. You're frozen.
I don't know what's going on with the internet.
Okay, so just hold on 1 second. Let me get. Can you hear me?
Don't know what's going on. Elon Musk, G-Tech, back up on the enemy.
Okay, hold on a second, cousin. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting for that,
fall into these
hold on a second. Okay. So, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We're having a little technical difficulties. I'm waiting for my people to get back on the show, but this is Jania Butler and your New American Perspective, and we're here talking about the New York mayor's race. How do you feel about it? Who are you voting for? Are you registered to vote? You still have time to register for the November general election. And so we have Curtis Siwa, who's surging in the numbers. He's doing very well. He's got about 22%, where Mom Dami's got 28%. You've got Cuomo, who's following behind both Mom Dami and Curtis Siwa, and he's doing about, I think, 18%, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have Mayor Adams, who strongly believes that, he is going to win in this election. Okay. So now I don't know what we're thinking and what we're doing out here, but we all need to have some real good perspective on what is happening in New York City. So now Curtis Siwa, the Republican guardian angel, he's my choice. I believe that Curtis loves New York. Okay. I believe that Curtis has spent his life in the streets of New York. I think he's a different type of New Yorker where, he sees something wrong and he doesn't have to be an elected official, was never an elected official, and jumped to where he needed to be, right? And save people. We all know the red beret, and some people get mad when they see the red beret because maybe they've never seen him in the streets. And so Curtis is on the borderline with the Republicans. A lot of the Republicans say, hey, Curtis, drop out. But Curtis made a good point. There's nobody dropping out. Everybody is going to be on the ballot. And if anybody drops out right now, they got to give back that 8-1. So nobody is really dropping out. Okay. So nobody is really dropping out the race. Then you have Mom Dami. Okay. Mom Dami is like, listen, I'm going to win this race. Now he's going to meet with everybody. He's got Elizabeth Warren on his side. The New York Post did a really good piece on Mom Dami saying this is the African American with Elizabeth Warren and the Indian. If you remember, President Trump used to call her Pocahontas. And so now you've got an Indian man saying that he's an African American, and a white woman saying that she's a Native American. And so what do we take on that? And they're both socialists and want to push the socialist agenda. Now, if I was a socialist, I would want to be in New York too. But what's going to happen if he gets elected is all of the millionaires, all of the billionaires in New York are leaving because they are not going to let this man do away with their money the way that he wants, and say, oh, well, we should share all your money that you worked for. Now, I'm a hardworking young woman who, will be in the millionaire category very soon, if not by the end of this year. So after I've worked these 49 years, I'm going to give away 70% of my income so everybody else can eat, and I took the sacrifice to do it. No, no, no. A lot of us don't believe and think that. And I think the only people that think that may be people who don't have the money or people who don't work for the money. At least at that point. Okay. So I don't even know what is happening from that point. And so I've got my two people backstage. I don't know if we can bring them up, but I would love to bring them up. So I know that both of them, Mom Dami, Curtis Siwa, they mean well. And I think they mean well for the New York. Now, Mom Dami, a lot of what he's saying is, he's only 33. So it's not like he's put all this into action. It's not like he knows what's going to happen in the city of New York. Now, we've said New York may need some new young energy, but what does that mean? Okay. Does that mean that we take on this whole new democratic piece? No, we don't. It means a lot to everyone. Again, I don't know if we can bring up my guests, but that would be wonderful. So then you have Governor Cuomo. So Governor Cuomo, who stepped down as governor of New York and now stepping up to be mayor of New York City, thinks that he's got the right way. Now, after being a governor of a state for a very long time, as Governor Cuomo was, I think that he could do a good job in New York City. But wait. Does that mean that after you step down as governor because of your sexual allegations and everything like that, and they were going to put him in jail? Because remember, Cuomo was going to jail. May have gone to jail because of all the people who died. Okay, all the people who died in from COVID after he put all of the workers and the sick people in the nursing homes. And so there was a lot of people died. So there's a lot of people who lost family members that are like, no Cuomo, no Cuomo, no Cuomo. And so he's on the edge. So we really don't know where New York is going. And this is where it comes in to really talk about what the people can do. Now, there's 8 million people in New York. So this is not decided. If you've seen Mayor Adams the other day, he had all the clergy lay hands on him. And then they said, oh, well, that's a Donald Trump move. Having the clergy lay hands on you. I don't know. He's going to look for the Lord. Now, what happens to Mayor Adams, right? If he doesn't win, okay? Because, politics, and this is the part about politics, and you see that Vice President Kamala Harris, she said, listen, I am not running again, okay? I am not running again. If I could bring you up, I would. I don't know what's happening on the other side. But the vice president, we have a break in 6 minutes and 5 minutes. So I don't know what Vice President Kamala Harris is doing or going through, but she said that she's not running for governor of California now. So she said, I'm not stepping back. I don't like the way the government, she don't want to work with Trump. Let's just say it like that, and I understand that coming from her because, he beat her, right? And so she said, no, I don't want to, not now. Okay. And they said, well, maybe you're going to run for president again. And maybe she will, but she needs to get her steam together. She needs to get her talking points together, right? And so, like I said, so Mayor Adams, what happens if he doesn't win, right? He's had this illustrious career coming out of Brooklyn, New York, and, this a story to tell, right? And I'm sure that president was somewhere in somewhat in his future at some point in some time. But it's not happening now. And if he doesn't win this mayor race, and the numbers are saying that he's not going to win when this independent line, I think that was a great move, but he's got to have some numbers. He's got to move the needle. And so what is going to move the needle? What are you, the New Yorkers and the American people, what do we really want out of New York? New York is the biggest city in America. And what do we do with that city? So now if it's a socialist city and it's relying on the middle class and the lower class, people are moving out of New York. Let's be clear. The rich are not going to live in New York. The rich are not going to do this. The rich are not going to sit down with Mamdani and say this is the way New York should go. The rich are not going to do it. So we've got to look at it from a middle class, from a lower class, and your socialism from there. And so socialism says that the money should be spread out. What money? So if you're not relying on somebody else's money, which is crazy, okay, if you're not relying on somebody else's money, what are you doing? Okay. So, you know, a lot of people are up in arms. A lot of people have gone crazy behind this. And I want to know what you think. So tap in at the New American Perspective, at Millennium News 24. We're here to talk about it. And I really want to know what you think, because I think the streets of New York are in danger. You in danger, girl. Okay. I think the streets of New York are in danger. Okay. And then when AB and Charles jump on, we will find out what they are thinking about what's going on and what they are thinking about what's happening, because this is just something else. I'm a little nervous about New York now. What Mayor Adams has done now. Mayor Adams is doing some things now. Okay, you know me, I'm not a Mayor Adams fan, but I will tell no lies about you. Okay. So Mayor Adams got the trash cans. They're very nice receptacles. But now Mayor Adams, fix the parking situation, please, sir. Okay. So we're riding around New York getting all these tickets and getting all these parking. We can't park anywhere because now the trash cans, Jania, because I'm the one who started the trash issue, but now the trash cans are in the way of parking, so we have nowhere to park. And then the parking garages are price gouging. Then you have to do congestion pricing. So how am I going to pay congestion pricing, parking pricing, and then I can't park on the street? Then you're going to tow me, put a boot on it if I owe some tickets, because it's a whole nother bill at the end of the month that you want this parking situation to go. What are we talking about, Mom Dami? What are we talking about there? I haven't heard his take on that, but I need to hear his take, okay? Because I want to be able to come into New York, New York, like I've always have. I've been in New York since 1993, very long period of time. And I have seen New York go from up, down, and all around. And this one is special. So I am interested in seeing the young New Yorkers really, really do their thing and, go from there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. Hopefully when I come back, we will be with our guests so we can talk to them about what they are thinking going forward in New York. What is happening in New York, people? Tune in. Check us out here on Millennium News 24. I'm your host, Jania Butler, and we will be right back. Ah, there we are. There he is. How are you, Mr. Jones?
I'm good. Glad to finally be upstage instead of backstage.
Sorry about that.
Nah, it's all good.
AB
It's all good.
Butler, you can join us now.
You sure?
Hello.
Is you sure? I'm like, yo,
Sir,
okay,
sir, we are live. We are
okay.
live.
Listen,
Somebody got a
Okay,
G
we are
check the
live.
studio.
listen. I'm G
We are
checking.
live.
Yeah, you
We'll
listen.
talk about it after we are live, but we are live right now. We are
I
live
Okay,
see.
internationally.
but you gotta
So
remember,
save
you
it.
got you gotta
I see.
remember this.
Save it.
You gotta remember, cause it's a G check.
Save it.
You Janee Butler. I'm AB Butler.
Okay, but you have to
Yeah.
save. You have to know when to hold them and when to fold them. Save it right now. Okay.
Listen,
So, well, we
listen.
got our
Okay,
guest Charles Jones on, and if you can't stomach it, come back. We'll come back. We'll fix it and come back next week, but not now because we've only got a certain amount of time. So,
cause
okay, we've only
we,
got a
we
certain amount of time. You have to
okay.
make
We
your
talked
point.
about this, Cuzzo. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you get your.
You
I'm gonna let you
listen.
get this done.
We have to
Go
do
ahead.
it
Go ahead. Talk. Let's
later.
do what we do.
Okay.
It's a G check. Go
Thank you.
ahead. Do what you do.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome, Charles Jones, to the New American Perspective. This is your next time. Are you stuck there? Are you
I'm
moving?
here. I'm
Okay,
here.
okay.
I'm listening.
So
I'm
we
listening.
we
I'm
got
just
cut
listening.
off. I'm so sorry. There's been some technical difficulties with the show, obviously, and we got cut off, but now we have you on the show. So let's jump in. So tell us a little bit, just really quick, maybe 30 seconds about who you are for the people who are tuning in now who didn't get a chance to see you the first time around.
Right. I'm Charles Jones from Brooklyn, New York, Bed-Stuy. Started off Cooper Park, lived in Bed-Stuy, like I said. Flatbush areas, lived in Queens, lived in the Bronx. I've pretty much been everywhere except for Staten Island. I'll
Am
just
I
say that.
working?
At Mount Vernon, at my four in Mount V. At Mount V. Um, but former NBA player, Chicago Bulls, LA Clippers. I played abroad for many years. Um, College coach for a couple years, been in grassroots for about 20 years. I've coached a number of guys that's in the NBA, some guys on their way, some guys doing great abroad, a lot of guys doing good in college, a lot of guys doing good in high school basketball. And even in some of the guys I work with are coaching and have become, I hate the word trainers, but have become trainers. Um, and I continue to work with the babies and older kids. I
Okay,
guess,
so
yeah.
consummate New Yorker, uh, NBA player, definitely teaching the kids. Thank you for all that you do for New York City. So let's jump right in and let's talk about the New York mayor race because it's very important right now. And so you talk about the kids, you talk about the future. There's a 33-year-old Muslim man running for mayor. You've got Eric Adams, who is the current mayor, the incumbent mayor,
Mhm.
and you've got Governor Cuomo, who used to be the governor and is no longer the governor, stepped down as governor. And then you got Curtis Sewa, the guardian angel, who's running on the Republican ticket. What do you think when you think about the New York mayor's race and what's going on, everything that's going on?
Mhm. It's interesting to me. It's interesting to me because I think,
Cousin
can you
man.
hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. It's interesting to me because you got a couple of candidates. I think they may have a hard fight to win. So I almost don't want to say the fight is fixed, but it seems a little strategic. I mean, with Eric Adams' issues, I think it may be hard for him because they strategically, decided to do what they did.
People to G check right now.
Yeah,
No, I
I'm
don't
not you.
know. It's still alive.
Hello, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, then you got you brought up, I forgot how to say it. I mean, let me not say forgot. I don't know how to say his name correctly. The Guardian Angels guy, the guy that founded
Curtis Sewa.
Guardian Angels, Curtis Sewa. Then you got the other guy that they kind of somebody made. I forgot who it was, but the independent. He's trying to get them to connect with the independent. They kind of study something like remind of Michael Bloomberg. I don't know if that's exactly what you could say he is. I mean, so
Cuomo. So you got Cuomo, you
yeah,
got
Cuomo,
Eric
Adams,
Adams,
Mondami,
you got
Siwa,
Mom Dami and Siwa.
and it's the what's the other guy? He doesn't have a shot anymore. He's
Who's
trying to
that?
get his shot. It's hold up, let me see. I'm gonna pull it
You
up.
got Curtis Sewa, the
Walden,
Republican.
Jim Walden, Jim Walden,
Oh, that's a
Jim
good one.
Walden,
I'm glad that you
Jim
brought that up because
Walden.
I never talk about him because he's a write-in candidate, and
Yes, he's a
that's
writer.
interesting. Now, do you know anything about him? Do you know him?
No, I was trying to, as I was backstage, I was trying to see what I could pull up, and that's when I seen
I don't talk about him
reminding.
because I don't think that he has a shot at
Yeah,
all.
he's trying to get them to put there, which I don't think he probably has a shot at all either. But this is what I was saying when I was talking about how the candidates are kind of set up.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody who gets a chance, if you speak on the right points and you get people to vote, you can have a chance. I mean, but do they allow him? Like you said, he's a writer. So um you said it's a million people. I was paying attention. You said it's a
It was
million
on,
people
yeah.
that
It's
vote.
only
Only a million.
I'm saying a
Only a
million
million
people voted in the
voted.
Democratic primary, right? So
Yes.
now in the general election, you're going to have all the Republicans in the city voting too. So there's going to
Hmm.
be more people in the general, but we only know
Yeah.
about how a million people feel, right? So now
Yes.
you got Eric Adams supporters. So I would say that it's probably going to be 2 to 3 million that
Yeah.
actually will vote in the general election. But Mom Dami's got the social media, right? See, he's got TikTok. He knows how to work the kids stuff, the social media
Yeah,
stuff.
but
So he's running it.
do they vote? This is the thing. Does the people that he's got on TikTok, do they vote? Because that's the thing is who actually gets to the polls and goes out and vote. Like the
That's
older generation, they may have TikTok because of kids, grandkids, and stuff like that. But I don't know. The election comes down to who votes and then how much you pay attention to news. Um, Let me say it depends on which news you watch because some are biased, some can be biased. So it's your mindset going into the polls. I think it can be interesting depending on who actually goes out to vote. Because if you still have the stuff with Eric Adams' situation, if you still got that in your mind, it may make you hesitate. You got Cuomo who had his own issues, and some people look at him as pro one, pro let's see how I could do it. Pro Israel, right? If that's the safer
right,
way to
right,
say
right.
it.
Good point.
Right?
Good.
And then but you got Mondami who they look at as pro Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, some people. So um then you got my man Guardian Angels who I don't know if he really has leverage either way with that, but he's a former Republican candidate. So I mean it's gonna
Yeah,
get
no.
interesting.
So it's tough
It's gonna get interesting.
because.
It's gonna get
So let me
interesting.
ask you,
It's
what
gonna
do
get
you
interesting.
remember about the Guardian Angels? You've been in New York all your life. What do you remember about the Guardian Angels, and do you think that his work? Because I feel like his work as a Guardian Angel says that he is for New York. That's how I feel about him. I mean,
I think just in the thought process of founding it, I believe that he's for the city. Um, it's a little tough because with me being, I guess you want to say older or seasoned, if that's not a better word to use. Right? I mean, when we saw the Guardian Angels, I mean, as a kid, I wasn't focused on where I was going. So I looked at them. I realized that they weren't a threat. I guess they were trying to help people. And, I kind of minded my business. So I don't have any negative connotation with them. There's nothing negative to me
but did
about
you feel safe when you saw them? You said you knew that they weren't a threat. I mean, did you like? Did you like? You didn't feel safe when you saw them riding the train?
safe. Safe is a tough Safe is a tough word. I mean, because in leaving your neighborhoods, which we're conditioned, especially when we're younger, to believe that everything you need is within your community, right? So when you talking about 12, 13 years old getting on a train, 14, 15 getting on a train, it's you and a couple friends, you're not sure what's safe and what's not. But the fact that I can say that I never had I never felt like I was in danger with them. So I guess you can use the safe word, but I just didn't know what they were about and didn't bother to ask because I was just taught to mind my business.
Interesting, because I never knew what somebody thought. Like I only seen them, 93 and on when I got to New York, and I was 17 at the time, so I never really, saw them ride the trains
Mhm.
and save people, and come out.
Yeah, I never
I'm
seen.
assuming they were supposed to be like the Superman, the Red Beret, and everything like that, and they came to the
Mhm.
rescue. I know Curtis Sewa had got stabbed at one point, and I know that he also was Lisa Evers, the street soldiers. They were
It's, uh,
married at one point.
oh yeah,
So yeah, yeah.
wow, I didn't know
Yeah, he was
that. I
married
didn't
to
know
her.
that.
So she's still like, so I'm just saying that he put positive things in the air. Now, here's my next question. So Mom Dami, and I'm sure you don't care, but Mom Dami as a Muslim, right? And as a pro-Palestinian at this time,
Mm,
I don't know if you have seen some of the images of what's going on in Palestine right now, as far as there's been over 100 people that have died from starvation, right? In
mm.
Palestine. And so I think that there's definitely something needs to happen, with Palestine, and the Palestinian people don't need to, be exterminated like this. But, now having a Muslim, he'd be the first Muslim American over New York. How do you think that's going to play?
Uh, this is what I'm saying. This is why I brought that up. Like now
Mm-hmm.
it depends on who goes out and vote. And the fact that and this one can be tricky about the 1 million people that voted originally, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now anybody that's worried about him getting in office, because I played in Israel a little bit. My brother played in Israel for
Oh, did you? Okay. How was that?
my brother played. It was I mean, it was one of the best countries I've been in. Best countries I've been in. And
What made it
the
the
thing,
best country?
I mean, everybody spoke. You add the fact that everybody spoke English, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have, let me say, for lack of a better term, we have the most love and hated culture in the world. Our people.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they embraced us to a certain extent, especially when it comes to sports entertainment. Obviously, so you can go everywhere. Everything's calm. You can communicate. You want to get tissue. You want to get water. You want to get juice. You want to get food. You don't actually have to learn another language. Um, but like in some other countries, now I have some countries I hold ahead of it because obviously for other reasons. For basketball, but for the same similar reasons, but it just was a little bit better than me. But it the whole life, the living. My brother put it like this: my brother stayed there. He lived there for maybe 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that just tells you. That tells you. And
And
even
so
in the time,
he stayed, like he was like,
yeah,
I'm
see,
good,
he lived. He
renew
lived.
my contract,
Yes,
I'm good right here.
yes. What is
And
it? The
shout
real
out to
Leon.
Lamont Jones, by
Shout
the
out to
way. He's
Lamar
talking
Jones.
about his big brother, Lamont Jones.
Shout out to
Shout
Lamar
out to
Jones.
him because he helped you pave the way
That's
to
a
the
fact.
to the career that you have today. And it's always great to have a big brother in your corner. So shout out to Al Buggy out there.
Nah, definitely, definitely, definitely. The thing about it, and this is why I really was thinking as I was talking, when I think back, even in that time, remember they had this issue. This issue just didn't stop. The issue's been going on for some time. So I played out there, my brother played out there, and we were hear about certain things, but I'm like, it's not where I'm at. And a friend of mine, Ebony Tanner, who now she's the head coach at Elizabeth City State, I believe it is. Is that it?
Mhm.
If I was not saying around one of the HBCUs. She's the head coach there. She was playing down in that area. We were cool. I went to go watch her games. I really didn't see too much, but obviously I'm not gonna know where it's at to go there anyway. The only thing I did see was that they would have basically an armed security guy at the mall, or here and there. But and I'm not giving anybody any ideas to do any type of demonstrations, but I used to think like, man, you got the big sport. Thinks nothing's ever happened. So
Right.
I mean, so it. I
So
would
it was a
say,
safe place, you
and
feel.
yes, it was a safe place. It was a,
Mm,
I mean, extremely. I went party when I wanted to party. Went to eat when I wanted to eat. I could move around. I could communicate. It was good. I just happened to have, I want to say, Greece, Italy, and Argentina a little over it.
mhm.
Buenos Aires is like the New York of South America. I mean, so mind you, you got Europe, who may be, I say, a little more economically better than South America, if I could say that, if it makes sense. But South America was lovely. Like, that was one of my best times up, and I was down there for a number of years. I mean,
Hmm.
but
So we're going to
years,
take a break really quick, and we're going to come back with Charles Jones, and we're going to talk to him more about, because he hasn't told us yet, good people, who he is for in this New York mayor's election.
I
Maybe he
didn't
wants to keep
I
it a
think
secret.
so.
He could keep it a secret, but he's going through a lot to tell us.
Yeah,
I don't know what he's trying to tell us, but we will be right back here on Millennium News
it's,
24 with the New
it's
American
interesting.
Perspective. We'll be
It's
right back.
interesting. My nose itching.
And we are back with your New American Perspective. This is your host, Jania Butler, here on Millennium News 24. I have my guest with me today, Charles Jones, former NBA player, former, well, not really former, but basketball coach extraordinaire, young people in New York, everything, and really just, just a world traveler and, just across this country and across this world. And we're talking about the New York mayor's race, and we're talking about, how Charles feels. He played in Israel, so we're talking about what's happening in Israel. He's saying that it's a great place to be, and then so with that perspective, what do you think about a potential Muslim? Because now look, let's be clear, Mom Dami is the front runner right now. So all the polls still have him as the front runner. Curtis C was gaining a little traction going on of likely voters, but there could be a mass of people that come out and vote. There's 8 million people in New York. We only know about what 1 million people feel. So we're talking about what would the potential be. Now, here's a good question. So socialism, okay? Socialism in New York City, meaning that they believe that everybody should spread the wealth. So let's go back to you and your playing career, your $1 million playing career as an NBA star. Do you allow somebody to then take your money and disperse it to everybody? Are you that kind of person or what?
Somebody just to have free reign over your money, I don't think. I think that's hard. I think that's
Right.
hard for anybody, regardless if you're saying you're for the people or not. You still want to have a say so on what people do with your money. I mean, unless you just got that much where you're just saying, yeah, go ahead. But even people that do that, normally they go to somebody they trust. Well, hey, here, Jania, I trust you. I got this couple $1 million. Here, do what you do and help people. Or even if they get
Mom
what they
Dami thinks there should be no billionaires in the world. So he thinks that there should be no billionaires. There should be nobody in the, that has $1 billion because there's too many people that need too much. And so you don't need your savings. We're going to go ahead and take that and we're going to go ahead and disperse that and, and make sure that everybody is equal. That's what he feels.
equal is hard. Equal is like saying fair. Fair doesn't really exist. Even if you try to cut a sandwich directly in half, that's hard to do.
Good
But
one. Good one.
I do feel him when, as far as there should be help for everybody that needs it. Everybody should have some form of help. I mean, especially as long as you're doing the right things, and which could be left to somebody's discretion. But to say just no billionaires, I mean, it's tough to say that I guess it's tough to have billionaires and then people be starving. So I believe, yes, you should be helping
Think
the weak,
about you growing
but
up.
there's no professional sports without, well, I mean, unless you're gonna have groups. Still gonna have
Well,
to have
think
some type of
about you
groups.
growing up as a young guy and not having all the money and not having all the things you did. And then a mom Dami comes in and then he says, hey, look, I'm going to spread this. I'm going to spread out this guy's wealth. I'm going to take all the millionaires in New York and I'm going to spread their wealth out so that you can have your equal share. Right. And, then do people work as hard, right? Do people go after something? Because that's where I draw the line. They want 70%, at least 70% in taxes, right? They want to take 70% of your money in taxes, right? And taxes is already brutal right now. But now they're saying 70%. So this is across New York.
Mhm.
So when he gets in,
Yeah,
I don't know how much power that he's actually
it's
going to
tough.
be able to have, right?
Mhm.
If he gets in, are you really going to be able? I mean, he could put taxes up for different stuff and all that kind of stuff. And I think that it would take a while, but this is where New York is going. So most people are scared that if he does this, all the millionaires are going to flee New York City. New York City is going to be operating on no money. So you're going to be looking at the middle class and the lower class to tout what he's talking about. And then it goes
Yeah,
down in the pits because you have no money to really do anything.
yeah. 70% is tough. Is Canada still 60%?
Is where?
Is Canada still 60%? Because
Yes,
I
I think
believe
so. Canada
Canada's
has a
60 with free
a
healthcare.
system like that.
They got a system, but it's 60%, and then but it's free healthcare, so anybody could go. Which I believe which I guess it works for if you're in Canada. I can only speak for what I know and places I've been, and 70% is tough. I think it's 70%. Just in theory, I'm thinking about that's a lot.
That's a lot of
That's a
money.
lot.
And
That's a
you
lot of
get
money.
like you take 70% of your million, what we talking about? We talking about so
Yeah,
I got $1 million, now I got
three.
300,000.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And
You do all
then
that work.
don't forget, and then it's going to everybody else who didn't work as hard, right? Like I look at myself and I'm like, listen, I work hard to be in this position. So
But
how dare somebody say everybody should be equal?
this is the thing about that. But even in sharing all the money with people, you still got to take some of these provisions and some of the stuff, some of the laws and some of the stuff that stop people from owning in certain areas, stop people from being able to get um, access to some of the things that they would still need to be able to buy. You still would have to be able to, you still have to be allowed. And I hate to still have to be allowed to get some of them to do something with the money anyway, unless you just want them to have the money and then just keep spending it in the same community, which could work, which would work for people that own certain businesses. So I
Right.
mean,
Sorry about that. So that would that would be effective. And then they're saying that, listen, we want to do a city owned grocery store where everybody can come in and get the groceries that they need and everything like that. But the key is that the people voted after he said all of this, right? So there's a group, at least 450,000 people in New York City voted for him to be the mayor and voted to say, let's try this. So let's try something new. Now, I know that, New York has gone through some changes, right? But this is a highly drastic change that if we do it, I'm nervous. I'm nervous as the
yeah,
that we know.
yeah. I mean, I'm interested to know, but you won't know. I wonder who voted. Um, and I think it's probably like I said. I think it was more of whoever voted either was already for him or with him. Because wasn't he? No, he's from Queens, right? Well, let me not say from Queens, but he lived in Queens or whatever.
He lived in Queens. I believe
He lived in Queens.
he's a state assemblyman in Brooklyn, if I'm not
So
mistaken.
so he got somewhat of a low following. He
He's
probably
got
trying to
some
make
money.
some
His
money.
family has money too,
So here we
to my
go.
understanding. And
Yeah,
so he's looking at it from, excuse me, a glass that we're not sure about because,
yeah.
you
He
know,
came
what
into
he's
a
talking
situation
about.
because even in giving people the money, you still got it. It's still financial literacy. You still have to know what to do with the money, just to be giving the people money, and which could be a play to get the votes. Yeah, we're gonna say we're gonna help give everybody some money, and that might not be intentional. Your intention may be for them to have it and run through it anyway. Um, so I just want to see. It's going to be interesting. Like I'm gonna be honest. I haven't leaned away because and I'm hoping that at some point it comes to me
Mm-hmm.
who I believe in,
Mm-hmm.
who I believe in, and at that point I will I'll go with It's crazy because she actually said text me this, was it the day or two ago. At that point, I'm a claim when I pick my person, I'm claiming them as the winner. Like I'm
Okay.
like you claim your job, who I'm going with. Don't worry, I got
And
it from.
is that in hopes that the person will win, or are you
I
going to
mean,
just
that's what
hold
you're
that
doing.
until
When you vote, you're voting for the person you want to win. You hope the
right,
winner you're saying is gonna win.
right?
That's what you're doing.
Well, they're
So
saying
and
that three guys, right? Curtis, Adams, and Cuomo are holding each other up for this one guy that can beat them all. So look, if Curtis splits the vote, they could split the vote. Curtis got his people voting for him. If Adams got his people voting for him, and Cuomo got his people voting for him,
it's
that's
splitting the votes.
right. So that's
It's
their
splitting the votes.
100,000. I mean, their 450,000 people right there. You're splitting that
Yeah.
up, and the people that won him, one person. So they won't come together as a pure New York and say we want to beat this guy, but because they all want to be mayor equally the same. And I mean, that's what this is about. And sometimes, we're gonna have to see how the ball bounces. But let's talk about something fun really quick. Funk
Hmm.
Master Flex. Now, I don't know if you remember, Charles and I went to Long Island University together during the 90s. I'm going to say the 90s now that we're getting a little older. I'm going to say the 90s. But we went
Late
to
nineties.
college
Late
together.
nineties.
Yeah, that's late 90s. That's a good one.
Late nineties.
Um, we went to college together, and I don't know if you remember Funk Master Flex used to be in front of LIU. Do you remember when he used to have his little truck in front of LIU and coming
Yes.
to games and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So now he's
I
getting the
wonder if he remembers. I
yeah.
wonder if he remembers.
So one of his right hand man, shout out to Tat Wizza, right? I know you probably don't know him as Tat Wizza, but one of his right hand mans also went to LIU, and he got him during the time that he was. Remember, he used to sit out in front of the truck. You tell it. You remember
Yeah.
that part, right?
Yes, I remember that. Yes, I
And I'm
remember that.
sure that he
Yes,
used to be front and center at your game saying, "What's up, Charles? What's up, Charles? What's up?"
man, you know what? He probably came to the games, but remember the crowd. I know while I was playing, the crowd got thick. The crowd
Yeah,
got
no,
really thick.
but you do remember him
I
sitting
do remember.
outside
That's a fact. The
with the
crowd
truck.
got yeah, yeah,
And I want to
yeah,
shout out
definitely.
Funk Flex because, we seen true hard work. And again, that's true hard work, right? So he's getting the entertainers. Mayor Adams is giving him the entertainers key to the city this weekend, right? So he's
Oh
getting the
yeah,
keys to the city. Yep, he's getting the keys to the city. And I want to shout him out because I think that is wonderful news across the board. And knowing from his humble beginnings, and he was a heavy set dude too. At the time, he would sit out in front of the school, and he chose LIU for whatever reason, but he chose
hmm
LIU, and now he's getting the keys to the city. So I thought that was a great piece that you could remember that he definitely
definitely.
in the building.
Definitely. We had it. Yeah, definitely was in the building. I remember security coming and telling me they wouldn't let Nas in the building because it was too crowded.
What?
Yeah, yeah. They came and said that we had we couldn't let Nas in. And at the
No,
time,
that you had
everybody.
listen, with the games was stacked up. I'm not mad at you for the crowd that you brought to New York. I didn't know Nas was in there. And remember, Foxy Brown spit on the girl in the crowd at our
Man,
game,
you brought that up. Wow.
right? Remember that?
Shout out to her brothers though. My
Yeah,
man
yeah,
Dad's birthday
yeah.
was the other day. My man Anton, my Shaw, they good
Right.
people.
Right.
Mm,
So I remember all those things. And, so LIU was definitely a centerpiece in hip hop at the time, at this growth spurt in hip hop, because it was the place to be. And you
yes.
were the center of that. You were the leading
Yeah.
scorer in the country at the time, end up winning the conference championship and going on. Who'd you
Mhm.
guys play? You guys played Villanova, right?
Played Villanova. They
And
had
almost
what
and
6
and did
pros.
well, right? Did well
We
in that
did
game.
good. They ended up winning by 9, I believe, 9 or 10 points. But we were there. The only problem was my guy, Dave Miscari. I love him to death. I go to war with him at any point in time. He guaranteed a win. He
Uh-huh.
guaranteed a win prior to the game, which kind of gave them a little, extra, gave them the locker room material. But we fought. We fought. I think we could have used the element of surprise a little bit better, but but,
Uh-huh.
but we fought and we
Y'all were in
played
there.
and we went. We brought it.
and
We
and
represented.
still remains as a historical piece to Brooklyn and LIU history. So we're
Definitely.
gonna have to close up for today. That's our show. I hope you enjoyed Charles Jones. He's got so much more. I'm gonna invite him back again so we can get this all right and all ready. But I'm gonna invite him back again, and so you could see the depth of this man, and we'll see where he'll end up very soon in the NBA, in the NCAA, in
Man,
NIL
we
land.
claiming it. We claiming it.
Yes, we
We
will
claiming
see.
it.
And let's just say
We
all
claiming
of them all wrapped up
it.
together. But thank you again for what you do in New York City with the young people and giving back. And also, Charles was in the movie Soul in the Hole. Maybe we need to do a watch party and watch you guys talk about what you were saying back then and to the men that you've become today. I think there needs to be a sequel to that. Let me put that in the
Man,
air.
they need to put the sequel. I'm gonna claim that too. And
Yeah.
thanks to Danielle Williams for having me on this claim that. She's my
Yes,
new energy. I'm
absolutely.
claiming all my wins. Claiming all my
Yes,
wins.
I love it. So we will talk to you soon, Charles. And that is our show
Absolutely.
for this week. Ladies
Absolutely.
and
Anytime.
gentlemen, this is the New American Perspective with your host, Jania Butler. I'll see you next week, a Wednesday at 1 o'clock. You know that hour. We're on point. We're on time. And sorry for the technical difficulties, but we back up. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.
All right.